So at this moment that I'll take with me to the grave, I'll never forget. There's a moment on Dogma, I was directing something or I was setting up a shot, and then I turned to go to probably snack table or something like that. And I saw as I turned this fucking weird visual that I was like, well, that's strange. Jason Mewes sitting on the church steps, the one in the movie, with Alan Rickman, engaged in deep conversation. Like really fucking hardcore conversation. And I remember thinking, what could they fucking possibly have to say to one another? Like, oh my God. I remember asking Mewes later on, I was like, what were you talking about with Alan Rickman on the church steps? And Jason goes, pussy and Star Wars. Sit there and talk to him about anything. He was genuinely interested. You don't get to be that good an actor unless you're a great study of humanity. And he liked people a lot. He seemed to like us quite a bit. We only ever worked with him in a movie that one time, but he was in our lives for the next 15 years after that flick. Never left our lives. Like when we wrapped up on Dogma, he gave me this atrocious fucking tree topper. It looks like an angel, but it has a dog's head on it. And he goes, this reminds me of your motion picture. Very conflicted and ugly. But humorous nonetheless. Thanks, man. And that's been on our tree, like every Christmas tree I've shared with my wife. Because I knew Alan Rickman before I met Jennifer, my wife. In fact, Alan met Jennifer around the same time I did. And I remember going, at one point we were standing on set, she was there, we were chit-chatting, she left, she went somewhere with Chris Rock to the snack table, I believe. And Alan Rickman goes, you dog. And I was like, you think she likes me? He goes, it's very apparent. Because she's a chubby chaser. In our relationship, he would always be like, how's Jennifer? And then later on, by extension, how's Harley? He would always ask about the kid. He was wrapped up in our lives in a weird way, considering that we only made that movie once. I tried to put him in a lot of stuff, but he was always working and stuff. He was originally the voice for Leonardo in the Clerks cartoon. That's why Leonardo looks like Hans Gruber. But it wound up being Alec Baldwin instead. But at first it was Alan Rickman. We have a track of him doing the voice. But he didn't want to do a British accent. He's like, I loathe my accent. So he wanted to do a voice. So instead he did Ross Perot, if you remember that. It's kind of crazy and stuff. Originally he was going to be in Red State, the role that John Goodman played. He was going to do, but he couldn't do it. He was doing something else at the time. He was supposed to be in Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, but he was working on, I believe, Harry Potter by that point or something like that. So he was always engaged, but he stayed involved in our personal lives. Whenever we went over to England, he would call us and be like, we have to go out to dinner, and he would take us out. Whenever he was in Los Angeles, he was like, you have to take me out to dinner. And like, he was adorable. I did this like once at the O2 Center in London, and him and his girlfriend, who later on became his wife Rima, who he'd been with for like 40 years, 40 years, they came to see the show. And he loved it. He was like, I love going to your shows. Everyone in the audience is so lovely, and they all look like you. And people come up to him and take pictures and shit. He loved it. So we were driving from the O2 back to London. He's like, we're taking you out to late night dinner. So as we're driving, he goes, I wanted to tell you I bought an apartment. I can't do his voice the whole time. He goes, I want to tell you I bought an apartment in New York. And I said, get out of here, man. Because he wanted to live in New York. He wanted to commit. He'd done plays there. He directed a play there as well. But he'd never gotten a place. So he was like, I finally broke down and bought an apartment in New York. I was like, that's awesome, man. Congratulations. He goes, well, maybe not. I said, why? He goes, I bought an apartment in the same building as Ray Fiennes. And I was like, well, that's nice because you live next to a friend. He goes, that's not nice at all. If the Harry Potter people find out that Voldemort and Snape live in the same building, they'll bring it to the ground. They're a really, really sweet fucking sense of humor. Funny guy, man. Nice dude. Talented as fuck. You will never meet anyone as good at what they do in life as Alan Rickman was. And if I say that about his work, let me pay him one compliment further to show you what a fucking real true gem he was. He was one of the most, if not the most brilliant actor I've ever been exposed to in my life. Certainly that I've ever worked with. excluded. He's exceptional at his job. You'll never meet anyone who's as exceptional at their fucking job as Alan was at his. But as grand as he was at being an actor, he was even better at being a human being. He was invested in humanity. He fucking cared about people and stuff. A wonderful actor, but a better person. And one day we got the phone call that Alan died, and it was fucking shocking because he wasn't sick or anything like that. And I remember I'd had a conversation with him when he'd been in Los Angeles a year prior, I think. He was like, I'm in Los Angeles, you owe me a dinner. And I was like, oh my God, I can't right now. When are you coming back? And he told me, and I said, we'll do it then. And we didn't because he passed away. So number one, always fuck. If somebody goes, hey, let's go to dinner, go to fucking dinner. You never know, man. You never know what's going to happen and shit. Particularly if they're paying, fuck. But number two, man, like I'm always happy to report to people, like there are a lot of talented people in this world, or quote unquote talented. People call it talent. I have a real bone to pick with that. I don't think that's talent, man. Like talent to me is not getting up and pretending to be something else. That's not, you know what talent is? Building a combustion engine, or building a fucking building, being an architect or shit like that, or being the person in construction that puts it together. Because if you fuck up, people die. But like, making pretend, like that's not talent. Like it doesn't take talent to be like, I'm Batman. Fucking Ben Affleck did it, you know? He was just exceptional at what he did. Some people will call it talent and stuff, but he was just insanely exceptional at making pretend as an adult. And he knew it was a silly job. He treated it with all seriousness. It was the art, it was the craft. But at the same time, he's just like, this is not the noble work. He's going, this is the thing we do to entertain the people that do the noble work so that they keep doing the noble work. Like, we're just clowns. Like, he had a healthy perspective and a healthy respect for the gig as well. I miss him dearly, so any chance I get to talk about him is a good thing. Thank you so much.